The first one is hot pot. Chinese hot pot is one of the most popular meals in China. It consists of a simmering metal pot with brass at the center of the table, and all raw ingredients placed beside the metal pot, so people can add and cook whatever they like in the broth. So why the Chinese like eating hot pot? The hot pot has a long history for over 1,000 years in China. It used to be favored only in winter, but recently, hot pot has been appearing on tables all year round. Besides the delicious flavor, there are two other important reasons for Chinese liking hot pot. The first one is that it is a great way to socialize. People gather around the pot, chatting, eating, drinking, and having fun. The other is that hot pot is a healthy meal. Boiling is better than freezing. Eating hot pot can warm the body and improve circulation in winter, and increase perspiration to help cool the body in summer. Some seasonings used in hot pots can help avoid some illness like colds and headaches. There are several varieties of hot pot in China with differently flavored broths. Two of the most popular hot pots are Sichuan hot pot and Beijing mountain hot pot. Some other popular hot pots include seafood hot pot in Guangdong, sauerkraut hot pot in northeast China. Now let's talk about Sichuan hot pot in details. There are varieties of Sichuan hot pots based on different broths and meats, so Sichuan hot pot suits customers of different preferences. If you want to challenge your taste buds, Sichuan hot pot is highly recommended. Sichuan hot pot is the most famous Chinese hot pot. Now it is very popular and can be found in almost every city in China. Sichuan hot pot is famous for its nothing and spicy flavor, resulting from a special seasoning, Sichuan pepper, and other spicy ingredients. There are various ingredients used in hot pots. The meat can be beef, mutton, lamb, chicken, pork, fish, or other things. Vegetarian ingredients such as mushrooms, potatoes, cabbage, and tofu can be quick-boiled as well, and are favored by many, particularly Chinese women who want to eat less calories. Of course, you can also try whatever you like. The ingredients are usually served with dipping sauces made by mixing your choice of sesame sauce, chili oil, soy sauce, garlic sauce, or whatever you like to fit your own taste. Can't eat Sichuan and Chongqing old hot pot without mentioning 9宫格. It is more and more popular with young people. But do you know what kind of stories are behind the 9宫格 hot pot? Hot pots were originally just a kind of food for poor people. As early as the old days, rich people often only eat meat but not internal organs, and poured them all over to the river. The fishermen who poured the boat by the river picked up the entrails, took an iron basin and burned them to it. As soon as the heat rises, it always attracts more and more fishermen to eat around. In order to distinguish between their ironings, some people burn the pan into the shape of a grate, and on the one hand, it is better to fish, and on the other hand, they can also distinguish their respective fields. This is the original source of 9宫格 hot pot. Sichuan Chongqing hot pot has a long history. At the end of the Qing dynasty, hot pots with gardens and eating along the street began to appear. Pot is not only a food, but also contains the connotation of food culture, which adds elegance to people's taste. When eating hot pot, Men, women, children, relatives, and friends surrounded the steaming hot pot, talking together with their arms, joking and eating, full of a warm and harmonious atmosphere, which is suitable for the traditional Chinese culture and family reunification.
Okay, now I would like to tell something about pickled fish. And before I begin, I will tell you a story. There's a girl named Cui Cui and her grandmother living in a small village with beautiful flowers and lakes, carefree. Cui Cui's home is next to the Function Lake. The water is clear and bright. She runs around the small lake with her grandmother every day and plays with the small fish. One day, Cui Cui sits by the lake, washing clothes. A beautiful fish swims to her hand and looks at Cui Cui. At night, Cui Cui dreams a handsome boy named Yulang says to want to marry with Cui Cui. The next day, Cui Cui sees that fish again in lakeside. From then on, Cui Cui sees the fish by the lake every day and dreams of meeting Yulang every night. Later, Grandma becomes more older and seriously ill. Many doctors could not cure her. Cui Cui worried, telling the fish about Grandma's illness. The fish climbs on her and comforts her. At that night, Cui Cui dreams of Yulang to say goodbye, lifting a fish on the table. You slice that fish and stew it with the common pickled cabbage together. Give Grandma meat and soup. Grandma's disease will be better, Yulang tells to Cui Cui. The next day, Cui Cui does see a dying fish in table. So she does as Yulang says for Grandma. Grandma eats it and can get out of the bed. After her grandma is well, Cui Cui runs to the lake, but never sees the fish. So, in order to return to remember the filial piety of Cui Cui and Yulang, people have imitated Cui Cui's methods to cook pickled fish. Okay, it seems like that the pickled fish is very good, so let's enjoy some pictures of it. It looks delicious, right? Actually, there are many opinions about the historic range of pickled fish, which cannot be verified up to now. After inheritance, the preparation methods are different, but the taste is basically the same. Here are two of the rumors about pickled fish's discovery. And we do not know which is really the truth, so just look it. Next, I'd like to share a store devoted to making pickled fish, of which the boss is Tai Er. The store sells only 100 fish a day. Its pickled cabbage is salted for 35 days, and the fish's thickness is accurate to 2 millimeters. This restaurant places great importance on the quality of its fish. Last, I believe that you know the joke of pickled fish, and it is beyond description, though it can be sensed, just as the song sings. You are pickled fish, stir, vegetables, and redundant. How you are everywhere. You are not 007. You are picky about everything.
What I want to share are whole dry noodles. They are delicious fruit, which also called 热干面. My content is divided into 4 parts: some questions, introduction of whole dry noodles, making methods, and some little stories. The first part, there are 4 questions about it. Have you ever been to Wuhan? Have you ate Wuhan snakes? Have you heard about whole dry noodles? What do you think whole dry noodles should look like? Think about it. The next part is introduction of whole dry noodles. This is the origin of Wuhan whole dry noodles. Whole dry noodles are one of the most famous snacks in Wuhan. They are yellow in color, oily, and delicious in taste. Due to the high calorie, people also could be used as main food and breakfast to supplement the energy needed by humans. Breakfasts such as whole dry noodles are available from about 5 a.m. in the morning and also usually appear at Wuhan's night markets as the late night snacks. These noodles can be prepared with minutes and are affordable, so it is a popular breakfast. What's more, there are a great number of whole dry noodles restaurants all over the world. If you want to have a try, you can go to Wuhan one day. The third part is about making methods of whole dry noodles. First, cook the dry noodles for 5 minutes or fresh ones for 3 minutes. Transfer out and drain. Second, place the noodles to a clean option board and oil and combine well. The process can cool down the noodles quickly and creating a cheesy texture set aside to cool down completely. And third, you can add some chili oil if you want. There is a warm notice. The sculptures can be addressed as you like. Salt and sugar portions like to eat spicy can add chili oil. You can choose to some depend on your own diet habit. And the last part and some little stories about whole dry noodles. They may be interesting, moving, and meaningful. The first, hello whole dry noodles. It happened in last year. I stayed at home when Mr. Hoja noodles very much. The second is a touching story. An old lady for Grandpa made his favorite Hoja noodles. Also said, "Eat one bit, less one bit." When Grandpa was dying, the days are not much. The final Hoja noodles were not set out. This is a great pity for Grandma. The third story is about Hoja noodles represent Wuhan people. Hoja noodles are also called too early by Wuhan. It can best represent the character and culture of Wuhan. Hoja noodles are an important part of Wuhan folk customs and folk culture. As far as I'm concerned, Wuhan Hoja noodles have been officially declared as China National Intangible Cultural Heritage. Yeah, that's all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention.
Now, let me talk about the dumplings. It's divided into 4 parts. Part 1. Who invented dumplings? Part 2. The history of dumplings. Part 3. Type of dumplings. Part 4. Dumpling recipes. Who invented dumplings? Let's start with who invented dumplings, since this is where the story of dumplings begins. Most experts believe that dumplings were invented by Zhang Zhongjing, a Chinese medicine who lived in the Eastern Han Dynasty. The history of dumplings. As legend tells it was a difficult winter, and many were experiencing ill effects from the cold. To help people win up, Zhongjing took mutton, herbs, and chilies and wrapped them in dough, then steamed them to bind everything together and keep them warm. This steaming, pillow-like cheese helped people overcome the cold weather, while the herbs that Zhongjing put inside worked to improve blood circulation and prevent frostbite. While the history of dumplings is often accepted as having started with Zhang Zhongjing, the general idea of dumplings, as we know them today, follow quite an interesting and varied trajectory. Because you can find dumpling variations in nearly every culture, the history of the dumpling has many different starting points. Even if their official invention was during the Han Dynasty, recipes for dumplings appear in later years in ancient Roman texts, with the very first dumpling recipe itself found in Epicurus, a Roman cookbook. While dumplings appeared in many forms for many centuries during ancient times, it wasn't until the 17th century that they finally got their name. The first use of the term dumpling can be found in an English text from 1600, where it was noted that the word was perhaps of Roman origin, and while Zhongjing may have created dumplings in the first place to help people survive brutal winters, other cultures created dumplings for other reasons, such as to help extend the life of meat and to make use of surplus grains. What this history of the dumpling tells us about their meaning is that some foods span the length of space and time. Many different cultures invented their own dumplings,
and many of those dumplings look quite different than what Zhongjing first created, such as gnocchi and mexia balls. And by understanding this unique history, we understand more about how food has functioned in general throughout the human experience as medicine for the mind, body, and soul. Type of dumplings. This is xiaolongbao dumplings and shuijiao dumplings, Wentun dumplings, and guotie dumplings. Dumplings recipe. Step 1. Stir together flour. Step 2. Chop by spoonful into boiling stew. Step 3. To make spelling dumplings. There is simply no food that's better than the dumpling for illuminating this important point and showing us that for all of our differences, food is one of the primary unifying factors that binds us together. Thank you.